NCDC apologizes to Zamfara state government for wrong confirmation of 8 new cases of coronavirus. PTF asks businesses, schools, worship places and others to prepare for reopening. NAFDAC received 4 applications to test drugs on persons and business. Market Naira drops to 456 Naira at parallel market. And on the international scene, China denies Trump's accusation of COVID-19 mass killing. Welcome to Standard Voice Television News. My name is Samira Ibrahim. Now the news in full. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control (NCDC) has apologized to Zamfara state government for wrongly accrediting 8 positive cases of coronavirus to the state on Tuesday. NCDC on Tuesday confirmed that Zamfara state recorded 10 cases. However, the Zamfara state COVID-19 task force counted the numbers, adding that only 2 cases of coronavirus were confirmed in the state. The chairman of the Zamfara State Committee on COVID-19, who also doubles as the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Nasiru Ma'azu Magaria, had called on NCDC to properly investigate, apologize to the state and correct the error immediately to build the confidence of citizens. In response, NCDC on Wednesday night regretted its error and apologized to the Governor Bello Matawa-led administration of Zamfara, promising to further deliver its report with accuracy and transparency. On the 18th of May, 8 new cases in Zamfara were erroneously announced. Therefore, as at the 20th of May 2020, Zamfara has recorded a total of 76 confirmed cases. The Zamfara State Commissioner of Police Barrister Usman Nagogo has hosted an Asani Anchor of Thunder Blowers, where issues concerning artisanal mining, execution of presidential order on illegal mining in Zamfara, and the issue of porous nature of Nigeria's borders were extensively discussed. With the enforcement of this presidential order of banning artisanal and illegal mining in Zamfara State, the Commissioner said Zamfara State is rich, and in his own judgment, it can be accessed to be one of the richest states with high deposits of solid minerals in Nigeria. The Commissioner said he was impressed that the people of the state can take advantage of this wealth of the state to earn more legitimate wealth. CP Nagago said the presidential order on the ban against artisanal mining activities in Zamfara remains in force, and the command has been very vigilant, especially with the recent complaints received from the licensed operators, which led to the arrest of some defaulters, including 2 Chinese nationals and 6 other Nigerians. The Commissioner said when he received formal complaints about the ongoing activities of some illegal miners operating at Kwali mining site in Bukoyo local government area of the state, he mobilized all stakeholders, including journalists, to visit the area. He said before reaching the mining site, some people have already called to put the miners on notice, and they all ran away, including their Chinese financiers. He said after a week, he succeeded in arresting the 2 target Chinese nationals alongside their tenants and others, and they were all interrogated and moved to the force headquarters for an extended questioning and possible prosecution. Governor Abdullah Umar Ganduji of Kano State has on Wednesday met with imams of Kano Friday mosques to discuss the protocols of 2020 Eid al-Fitr amid COVID-19 pandemic. In the statement issued to Primetime News on Wednesday by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Kano State, Abba Anwar, said that the meeting was aimed at calling on the clerics to comply with the COVID-19 protocols as enunciated by health professionals during the upcoming Eid prayer and Friday prayers in Kano. Present at the meeting were the Deputy Governor, Dr. Nasiru Yusuf Gawuna, who is the chairman of the State Task Force on COVID-19, Secretary to the Government, Commissioners, Professors Abdulsalam Nasidi and Abdulrazak Habib Garba, including the Chief Imam of Kano, Emeritus Professor Muhammad Sani Zaharuddin, among others. He intimated them with specified protocols at Coronation Hall, Government House, Kano on Wednesday. After reminding them the procedures the state government followed before the comment of the COVID-19 in the state, when Congregational Friday prayers were not suspended up to the time when they were suspended, when the first index case was identified in the state, that he consulted ulamas, Muslim clerics, before any decision was taken. Bauchi State Governor Bala Muhammad has lifted the ban on religious activities and suspended the lockdown imposed on residents in the state, saying a total lockdown is counterproductive to its citizens. The governor made this announcement at stakeholders meeting held at the Command Guest House in Bauchi, the state capital. The lifting of the ban, which takes effect from today, 21st May 2020, according to the state governor, stems from the success recorded so far in the management of the COVID-19 pandemic in the state. He also enjoined stakeholders to assist the government in ensuring that the protective tools put in place are adhered to strictly in order to be free from the infection. The governor said the decision will be taken by the people because the total decision of the lockdown was taken by them. The governor said they are just suggesting as a government, and on behalf of the government, he is suggesting that as from Thursday, we should lift the lockdown, including the one in Katago. People will go about their normal businesses, pray on Friday and eat if we agree on context and character so that people will go to eat. But we will need the support of our royal fathers so that there will be no such celebrations. The federal government has approved the termination of the appointment of Charles Wake as the Registrar and Chief Executive of the National Examinations Council, NECO. The federal government also dismissed 4 members of the NECO management for various offences bordering on financial impropriety. The affected officers include the Acting Director of Finance and Accounts, Bamidele Olure, Head of Procurement Division, Shina Adetona, Deputy Director Tayo Odukoya, and Head of Legal Board Matters, Babatunde Aina. Their dismissal comes after a panel that investigated allegations of misconduct against them while they were on suspension recommended their removal. Mr. Wake had been suspended since May 2018 by the federal government over alleged financial mismanagement and abuse of office. Since Mrs. Wake's suspension, Abubakar Gana has acted as acting registrar. The dismissal of the officials was announced by the NECO spokesperson, Aziz Sani. According to Mr. Sani, President Muhammadu Buhari's directive was conveyed in a letter dated May 11 and signed by the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Education, Soni Echonu, on behalf of the Minister of Education, Adamu Adamu. The Presidential Task Force on Coronavirus Response has asked businesses, offices, professional bodies, places of worship and educational institutions awaiting reopening to use the 2 additional weeks of plan to adopt new strategies under a COVID-19 era in line with the guidelines for the new life ahead. Chairman of the PTF, COVID-19 and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SG Abbas Mustafa, speaking at the daily briefing on Tuesday, also urged Nigerians to prepare for behavioral change, which he said is a must for every citizen because COVID-19 has changed the world completely. Abbas Mustafa, who assured that the PT of COVID-19 is committed and determined to continue to provide the required leaderships for this national response, added that in the coming days, intense consultations will be deepened with different segments of the society, including the state government, security agencies, religious and community leaders, to ensure a coordinated implementation of the measures. He reiterated that specific directives have been issued to security agencies to strictly enforce the measures and admonish Nigerians to please observe the restrictions in full. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, said attention has been drawn to the antics of some few elements in the social media employing disparate antics of blackmail and smear campaigns against the successful war being fought against corrupt practices by the Commission and its courageous chairman, Ibrahim Magu. The Commission, in a statement made available to Mabe TV by its spokesperson, Dele Oyewale, as a law enforcement agency, disclosed that EFCC has enough facts about the sponsors of such insidious campaigns, adding that it is an unflattering fact that corruption will always fight back, and the Commission was not surprised that such a campaign could be coming from some overseas-based, politically exposed and disgraced elements being investigated for unnerving acts of corruption. Mr. Oyewale said, for his courage, consistency and never say die spirit, Magu will undoubtedly have a tribe of hard critics, cynics and bitter foes. However, it is uncharitable to link him with the ownership of some buildings belonging to other individuals with verified addresses. It is even ridiculous to allege that he shied away from being served a fictitious writ of summons over a matter long decided by the judiciary. The agreement between the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) and the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) to spend as much as 1 billion naira as quarantine costs for about 3,000 Nigerian returnees has drawn widespread reactions from Nigerians on social media. The decision by the CBN and the NNPC was disclosed yesterday by Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyema during the briefing by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 in Abuja. According to Onyema, this is a CSR gesture by the CBN and the NNPC. The 1 billion naira is expected to cover the cost of hostel accommodation and the feeding of the returnees. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC) says it has received about 4 indigenous formulation applications for the treatment of COVID-19 from researchers in the country. Speaking on a live telecast, Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, said following invitation for application by the agency, 4 local researchers have submitted their remedy for evaluation. The DG said as at now, they have 3 to 4 applications and have given directive for expedited action for the samples to get to the lab soonest. The pharmacist stated her commitment to ensuring that every formulation is made to undergo a trial. She said they don't want to have a product that people will take and start vomiting. They also need to be sure that the environment it was produced was not contaminated or exposed. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria (FAN) said it has commenced fumigation of the international airports in Lagos, Abuja and Port Harcourt ahead of the reopening of flight operations in Nigeria. General Manager Corporate Affairs, Mrs. Harita Yakubu, made this known in a statement issued in Lagos. Mrs. Yakubu explained that the exercise was in line with the effort to contain the coronavirus pandemic ravaging the world. According to her, it was not yet clear when the ban on flights will be lifted. Still, the foreign authorities was taking the proactive steps. This is to ensure that safety of passengers and other airport users when the airports eventually reopen. In March this year, the authority embarked on a similar exercise of disinfection and fumigation of all the international airports. The Federal Svtv Ogun State Command has reported a multiple fatal crash involving 5 vehicles that resulted in the death of 2 persons around the Old Toll Gate, Ota. In a statement signed by the Superintendent Route Commander, Department of Public Education (FRSC), Ogun State Command, Florence Ope, the accident which occurred around the Old Toll Gate just in front of the FRSC office at 5:38 p.m. saw 18 people including 16 adult male and 2 females injured. 6 people sustained serious injuries. The statement further said that a total of 5 vehicles were involved in the crash. The road safety officer attributed the accident to brake failure on the part of a truck heading towards Lagos, losing control as the truck descended a slope at the Old Toll Gate at Ota. On business, the Naira lost ground at the parallel market, also known as the black market, as it dropped against the dollar today. It was selling at 456 Naira to $1 as individuals rush in to meet their fixed payment obligations. Information obtained from Everdown Bureau de Change showed that the Naira traded at 450 to $1 on Monday, a differential of 6 Naira from today's offer price. In addition, Nigeria's foreign reserves, which stood at $38.07 billion at the end of the fourth quarter 2019, fell to $34.9 billion at the end of the first quarter 2020. In making forex payment obligations easy for individuals, the Central Bank of Nigeria told forex from its forex reserves to stabilize the currency exchange rate despite poor earnings in foreign exchange due to crude oil prices. Naira depreciated at 5 years forward market, now 570 Naira to $1. During the last monetary policy meeting, the central bank governor Godwin Emefiele said external reserve position stood at $34.9 billion in March 2020 as against $38.07 billion in December 2019. The depletion in external reserves was driven by FX sales to brew the changes, an import and export window, as well as dwindling oil receipts. The current level of reserves is estimated to finance about 6.30 months of imports. Mr. Emefiele, who chaired the MPC meeting, said, based on the current downturn in oil prices, staff projections indicate that output in 2020 will be less than earlier envisaged. Still on business news, the Central Bank of Nigeria surprised the market by injecting estimated $90 to $100 million to the system. The Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), in its quest to stabilize Naira, injected funds to the currency market yesterday through the wholesale secondary market intervention. The auction was earlier put on hold by the CBN due to the COVID-19 pandemic and dwindling foreign exchange reserves standing at less than $34 billion. In contrast to the usual country auction that the Apex Bank sells spot and short-tenured forward, the allocation to all banks was spot at USD/NGN 386, with the sizable shareholders fund unimpaired by losses getting the largest allocation. And on the international scene, China offered a low-key rebuttal to United States President Donald Trump's accusation of mass killings on Thursday, with a foreign ministry official insisting the country did its best to protect lives during the pandemic. Tensions between the US and China have been on the rise as the deadly coronavirus, which first surfaced in the central Chinese city of Wuhan, ravaged the global economy. Trump has since made attacking Beijing a centerpiece of his November election bid, alleging it covered up the initial outbreak of the virus, a claim that China forcefully denies. Beijing's latest response came a day after Trump blamed China for mass worldwide killings in a tweet, which also referred to an unidentified Waco. China's foreign ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian told a regular press briefing that they have persisted in speaking the truth, presenting the truth and speaking with reason, doing their utmost to protect the lives and health of the people. Zhao reiterated China's stance that it has always had an open, transparent and responsible attitude as it battles the pandemic. He added that the country has been doing its best to promote international cooperation against the pathogen. China has come under fire for its initial response over the outbreak, which has since claimed over 325,000 lives around the globe. As the virus continued its worldwide march, governments including the US and Australia called for an investigation into its origin, with US leaders pushing a theory that the pathogen has leaked from a Chinese maximum security laboratory. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. NCDC apologizes to Zamfara state government for wrong confirmation of 8 new cases of coronavirus. PTF asks businesses, schools, worship places and others to prepare for reopening. NAFDAC received 4 applications to test drugs on persons and business. Market Naira drops to 456 Naira at parallel market. And on the international scene, China denies Trump's accusation of COVID-19 mass killings. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, head of news and current affairs, Alhaji Ibrahim Garbatuna, I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant day. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.